Hola, and welcome back, or hi, if this is your first time, to Record Reviews. This will be episode 5, so I don't know if I really need to give an introduction. This is the 5th one. If you haven't seen the previous, I'm going to spin a wheel. I have a lot of records. We're going to find out which record I'm going to be reviewing by spinning that wheel. So I'm going to send it over the wheel. We're going to find out what record we're reviewing today, and yeah, so let's send it on over to the wheel. Well, it looks like the 5th record that we are going to be reviewing is The Long Run by the Eagles. This is going to be just a good time. I'm a huge Eagles fan. I know that they aren't necessarily the most popular group. Well, they are pretty popular, and I know that some people aren't a fan of them. But personally, I can't get enough of the Eagles. I really enjoy their stuff. So this should be a good time because this album, it has some of their hits, but it doesn't necessarily have all of them. It has some lesser known songs that I actually enjoy quite a bit. So I think it'll be good revisiting that. So yeah, without a further ado, I'm going to go pop this in. I'm going to give it a listen, and I will get back to you with the review right afterwards. So see you then. Alrighty, well, I just got back from listening to the album, and it's a good album. I don't know what you expected me to say. The Eagles, I love them. They're a great band. It's just a good album. It's just a solid. It's such a solid listen. Um, the Long Run. For those who don't know, the Eagles. You might recognize their most popular song, which is Hotel California. But past that, I really enjoy the Eagles. It's surprising when you look at their discography; they actually don't have a ton of albums because of the people in the group splitting off and doing their own individual works. It's actually kind of surprising how few works that the Eagles have themselves. Now, when it comes to the Eagles themselves, there were 3 specific members that I wanted to actually point out in particular. Nope, they're on this side. There we go. I found out that that the long run actually opens up and it has pictures of all the members. But the 3 that I want to highlight are the 3 that are right here. So this one, we'll start this way. This one right here, this is Glenn Frey. Glenn Frey does a lot of lead vocals for the songs. His most famous his most famous thing that he's done outside of the Eagles, I believe, is probably he did the theme for Beverly Hill Cop, which is the song "The Heat Is On," which is a pretty popular song, and I think is a very good song. Then right next to him is right here. This is Don Henley. Don Henley, he is the typically the lead vocalist for the Eagles. These 2 mainly trade off. There are a couple other members like over here. They have a couple of their songs, or they sing a couple songs, but mainly it comes down to these 2, which you can really see in this album. There's only there's 2 songs that aren't Henley or Glenn Frey. So, but Don Henley, he's a very popular singer. He went off and did his own solo work. which the most famous song that he ended up producing on his solo work was The Boys of Summer, which is a really good song. And then the last member here that I wanted to point out is Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh, he is just my favorite member of the Eagles, mainly because of his solo work outside of the Eagles, because surprisingly enough, within the Eagles, he wrote a lot of the songs and he contributed, specifically when it comes to guitar. He's an incredible guitar player. He contributed a lot when it came to that. But singing wise, they didn't really, there are very few songs where he was actually the lead singer. But he's just, I love his singing style. He's such a fun guy. There's another album that we have, the Eagles live album that I could end up reviewing, and within that it's all live, but they introduce Joe Walsh as he comes up to the stage, and he talks about how I'm running for president. He's a funny guy, and I really enjoy the music that he made with the Eagles while also on his own. So that's just a little background for the Eagles and my personal favorite member of the Eagles. But now, when looking at the album itself, we have a really strong lineup of songs here, which is going to make picking a side relatively difficult, but we have to do it. We have to pick a side. So when looking at side one, it starts with The Long Run, which is the title of the album itself. And it's a very recognizable song. It's a very famous song. Famous for a very good reason. It's a good song. It's a very good song. Then after that, we have I Can't Tell You Why, which is actually written by a different member of the Eagles, Timothy B. Schmidt. Timothy Schmidt, he helps a lot with writing and backup vocals and stuff like that, but typically doesn't get to, he doesn't sing a lot of the songs. But for this one, they actually, it's I Can't Tell You Why, and that one is a very recognizable Eagles song. So it kind of surprised me that it was actually somebody else on lead. I mean, obviously, once I knew that, I could recognize it wasn't Henley or Fry, but it was a nice inclusion. It made it's also a very popular song, so I Can't Tell You Why is just a really good song. Then after that, we have In the City, which is Joe Walsh. It's Joe Walsh. This fun fact about In the City is Joe Walsh would end up re-recording the song. I'm not sure which one happened first. I'd have to double check, but I think this album he did the song In the City. Then he re-recorded it, and they used the song, which was just him recording it this time. It wasn't with the Eagles. But then they used it for the movie The Warriors, which is a pretty famous movie. And I just thought that was a fun little fact when I was like, In the City, that seems familiar. And then I find out they used it in The Warriors. I'm like, oh my god, this is incredible. Then after that, we have The Disco Strangler. That one's upbeat. It's nice. I enjoy it. It's solid. It's a pretty solid song. Then after that, we have the King of Hollywood. King of Hollywood is just like a noticeable like tonal change. It has this really cool fade in with da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. It's like just this slow guitar. And then when it's both Glenn Frey and Don Henley doing vocals. When they get in there, it's this really like laid back, like, well, he sits up there, and it's like it's kind of pulled back, but then you also have the guitar going. You'll notice it. I really like this song. It's something different, but it's incredible. I feel like that always comes back to me. It's like I really like the like recognizable songs. I'm a big fan. I mean, like The Long Run. You have The Long Run on here. You have I Can't Tell You Why. Those are really popular songs. Those are really recognizable. But then you have these songs when you get to the back of the album that not a lot of people talk about, but then you just hear them and you're like, man, that is just like, it's different, but it's just so great. And I think that that's just something that I'm a huge fan of on this side, particularly is King of Hollywood. Now, when looking at side two, we have Heartache Tonight, another very recognizable Eagles song. Very recognizable for an obvious reason. It's incredible. It's an incredible song. Then we have Those Shoes. Those Shoes is like, man, the guitar in Those Shoes, I mean, it is a guitar solo by Joe Walsh, but it's just like, it's a slide guitar. It's just incredible. There are talk box guitars. It specifies on here. Just incredible. It's just this oh, it's such a fascinating sound, and I think it really adds to the song, and it just makes it what it is. Then we have Teenage Jail. Teenage Jail is a solid song. I like it. It once again very guitar heavy, which I think works. I think it's good. It's a good song. Then after that we have The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks. This one is okay. We're gonna come back to it later. Then finally the album rounds off with The Sad Cafe, which I think is like, it's a nice little piano, nice little solid song that ends. It's kind of somber, but in the same way it has its uplifting moments, and I think it concludes the album pretty well. So now when deciding which side I prefer, for me, personally, I had to give it to side one. I really like side one. I think it's just such a solid lineup of songs. You got The Long Run, you got I Can't Tell You Why. Then you have In the City. I just like the range. I really like the range of it starting off with one of the, I think it's Don Henley. It starts off with Don Henley on lead, which, I mean, yeah, typically is. But then it goes to Timothy Schmidt, and then it goes to Joe Walsh. Then we bring it back, and then it's Don Henley again. But then it kind of concludes with Henley and Fry with King of Hollywood, and I just think it's a really solid side. Not to say that side 2 is bad, obviously. It's not a bad side, but I definitely think that I definitely prefer side A. So I shall dub side A as the superior side. Oh yeah, also if you notice there's little writings here, apparently Thomas C. something owned this record before me, but then he decided to sell it. And he decided to sell it to Half Price Books. So now it's mine. Sorry, Thomas. This is mine now. Alright, now getting back to the album itself, I've decided that we are going to first start looking at the worst song of the album. Now, the worst song. For me, you might have caught this a little bit. I kind of cut myself talking about it a little bit short, but for me the worst song of the album is The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks. I don't like it. I don't like the song. I think it's okay when I'm listening to the album, but it's not something I would listen to on its own. It's okay, but it's got this really weird, it's like these singers in the background, and it is really, like, I don't mind change up in an album. I'm completely fine if they like decide, hey, we're gonna mix it up a bit. We're gonna throw in some different things, because literally side 1 is my favorite, and it has King of Hollywood on it, and King of Hollywood is a major switch up from the rest of the album. But this one, it just feels really weird. It feels like a song that would be in a teen movie, and maybe it is. Maybe that's why they made it. In the City is in the Warriors. Maybe they made a song for that, but I don't care for it, especially because the way that it works is it goes straight from Teenage Jail into The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks, and it's like a transition. Like, there's like a transition. So like Teenage Jail, it has this guitar going, and it has Don Henley's like vocals. He's going like, he's really going at it, and then at the end it's still a bit of the guitar solo, and then the guitar just like stops right into ba ba, and you're like, what happened? What just happened? And then it transitions into The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks, and you're like, what is going on? Like, for me, literally, I'm listening to this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really, really digging it, and then just into that, and I'm like, what is this? So, for that reason, I would have to say that The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks is the worst song of the album. Obviously, that's my opinion, but I don't like it. I really don't. Now, if I had to give a runner-up would actually be hard, because for the rest of the album, I like all of these songs. I think I would just have to go with the Disco Strangler. I think the Disco Strangler is okay. Just some of the line deliveries by like Don Henley, where he's going like, look at me, the way he's delivering the line, it doesn't sound great. I think it's just the lyrics itself, like, and the way that they're placed within the song. Like, when it gets back to the actual Disco Strangler part, it's fine when it hits the chorus, but some of the lines that Don Henley does, just, I don't think are incredible. But yeah, so I know I kind of went off on a Freaks Don't Want No Freaks, but that is my worst song. And then if I had to give a runner-up, I would definitely give it to The Disco Strangle. Okay, now we are talking best song, and best song of the album is actually extremely hard because literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are like 6 options. There are literally like 6 choices I could have. For me, this is where it comes down to opinion. I think the best song of the album is probably King of Hollywood, and I know that's like, oh, you were just talking about it a ton, and like, yeah, it's my favorite. It's definitely my favorite, and I think it is the best. I think that just, it's got really strong guitar elements, it's got just incredible, it's so good. I just think it's great. It's nice, it's slow, but it also has the guitar, so it's like, you really get the general vibe they're going for, which is like this kind of, it's called King of Hollywood because from what I got from the lyrics from listening to the song, it's basically about a higher up, a CEO who like is searching for talent, and he's a very like crummy person. He's not a great guy. He's basically like, are you willing to sacrifice and act real nice? And it's a line within the song, or play real nice. I think that's the actual line. But in any case, he's basically manipulating this girl into signing a contract so he can get money, and he can, that's it. And I think that the way that they portray it through the music is really good. I think it's great. I just love it. Now, if I had to give a runner-up, it's In the City. I like In the City. It's Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh is great. I had to give it to In the City. The song is fun. It's just a fun song, and Joe Walsh just goes all out on the lyrics. I've heard this song there are a couple variations of it. This one actually probably is my least favorite version of it. Actually, I'm not sure. There's this one and there's the one from the movie. They're both good though. Like, this is my least favorite, and this is literally my runner-up. So it's still incredible. My favorite version of it is when he did it live for Hell Froze Over, or Hell Freezes. No, it's definitely Hell Froze Over, which was an album when they got back together and they performed live at MTV. I love that rendition of it, but even still, this rendition is incredible. This, like, it's just great. In the City is great. Joe Walsh is great. The Eagles are great. Great album. Incredible album. Well, I believe that brings us to the conclusion of our fifth episode of Record Reviews, which is for this one, Eagles The Long Run. This one is good. I love this album. Other than The Greeks Don't Want No Freaks, I can't stand that song. But hey, that's just me. That's me. There's somebody who loves that song. There's got to be someone who loves that song. I can't imagine how you would love that song, but there's got to be somebody. But in any case, thank you for watching. I'm loving this. I'm really enjoying doing this. It's fun to look back at these albums. It's fun to listen to them. It's fun to talk about them. So yeah, thank you for watching. Any suggestions you have, obviously I'm still open to them. But I believe that is it. So I will see you in the next record review. Yeah. Bye.